必要ありません。それはもう大勢の方にいただきました。
Nanami is the father figure who we all need in our lives. Out of all the characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, Nanami, according to me, is overall the most complete character that Akutami sensei has written. Studying at Jujutsu Tech, seeing death around him, quitting the life of sorcery, and becoming a corporate salaryman, hopping back into the world of Jujutsu and receiving gratitude. Today we will talk about Kento Nanami from the Jujutsu Kaisen anime and manga series. Kon'nichiwa Otakus, Chris here and welcome back to the Otaku Haven, a place where we discuss all things manga and anime. Today I will be talking about my all-time favorite anime character Kento Nanami from the Jujutsu Kaisen anime and manga series written by Gege Akutami. By the way, I have previously made a top 10 list video listing my top 10 favorite anime supporting characters and you should check that out. Coming back to our main topic, why did I say in my introduction that Nanami is the most complete character in all of JJK? How is he different from Gojo Satoru? I will be analyzing Nanami's characters and will be aiming to answer these questions in my own way. Kento Nanami is a grade 1 Jujutsu sorcerer who left the world of Jujutsu behind him after he graduated from Jujutsu Tech. The reason behind this is because Nanami hated the lessons that the academy taught him and he hated the way things were done in the Jujutsu world. He was also not a big fan of the fact that sorcerers were required to throw their lives away in the battlefield because he believed that every life was precious. But then again, after drowning into a life of work and money and after seeing that he can use Jujutsu to help people, Nanami finally realized that his belonging place was back in the world of Jujutsu as a grade 1 Jujutsu sorcerer. Nanami is a complete character because he has everything figured out. In fact, I think that he is the most realistic character that we have been introduced to so far in the story. He first felt that Jujutsu sorcerers were shit, so he quit being one. He then became a corporate worker and realized that work was shit. Hence, he became a Jujutsu sorcerer again, and now Nanami knows that he must be in this profession in order to make a difference. He knows what to do at what moment. He knows a lot about life in general and surroundings, and he is one of the most mature characters in the show. I can even go as far as saying that Nanami represents the balance between the Jujutsu world and the normal world. Imagine that you are an ordinary guy who is walking on the sidewalk and you see Nanami. Your first impression would be that he is a salaryman because of the way he chooses to dress. Nanami sports a business suit, complete with a tie, looking like a normal day-to-day corporate worker. But in reality, he is a grade 1 sorcerer who puts his life at risk every day while fighting curses. This salaryman sorcerer persona of his character, according to me, is a representation of the balance between the Jujutsu world and the normal world. Since we have talked about his character, we also need to talk about his curse technique. Nanami is considered to be a model example of what it means to be a grade 1 sorcerer in the world of Jujutsu, and his curse technique is known as the 7-3 technique. This technique lets Nanami divide his target with 10 lines and forcibly create a weak spot at the ratio of 7-3. The target's lines don't have to match up with the target's length or wingspan, and Nanami can freely choose which part of the body he wants to divide. This technique, in his own words, lets him deal a considerable amount of damage to the opponents stronger than him. A fun fact about Nanami is that his name Nanami can be read as Nana Mi, meaning 7 and 3, which is a nod to his curse technique. Nanami also utilizes a technique which he calls revealing one's hand, in which he reveals information about his curse technique to his opponents, hence maximizing the output of his technique. Till now, I have answered the question of why I think that Nanami is a complete character. And now comes the question, how is Nanami different from Satoru Gojo? The first major difference in my opinion is their attitude towards the world of Jujutsu. Gojo hates the elders of the Jujutsu society and does not believe in the rules set by them. Whereas Nanami also hates the stuff elders do, but Nanami is a stern believer of rules. Another notable difference is that Gojo Satoru was born into a main family and his techniques made him the strongest, whereas Nanami had to work his ass off to climb the ranks. The final and the most important difference in my view is the way they teach. Now, Gojo is undoubtedly an excellent teacher. He managed to turn Yuji from a dude who couldn't even control his energy into a top first class sorcerer who can go toe to toe with special grades. But Gojo is a guy who judges people based on their strength. He is also the strongest sorcerer, and because of this, he cannot relate his circumstances with people like Yuji, who are still growing. And because of this flaw in his personality, he cannot provide the mental support that Yuji needs, because he's like this all-powerful god. This is where Nanami enters, providing Yuji the mental support that he requires and telling him that it'll all be okay and that it is perfectly normal to mess up sometimes. To put it in Nanami's own words, it's not a sin to be a child. Nanami wants Yuji to grow up slowly because he knows that the life of a sorcerer is not kind to one's mental health. This can also be seen in the anime when Nanami hands over Sukuna's fingers to the authorities instead of making Yuji eat it. But all of us know that Gojo would have tossed the finger into Yuji's mouth without thinking twice. This just goes to show us that Nanami actually thinks a lot more about Yuji's safety and mental health. Am I saying that Gojo is a bad guy and a careless adult? No, not at all. All I am saying is that Gojo, in his quest to raise his students into strong and clever comrades, sometimes forgets that they are still children. Nanami brings in a much more human approach by protecting Yuji and outright telling us that he is an adult and that he has the responsibility to prioritize Yuji's life over his own. Now, we have reached the last segment of the video and I would like to issue a spoiler warning for the anime only people. So if you haven't caught up with the manga, please stop the video right here because, yeah. Even in his final moments, when he was about to be killed by Mahito, and while Yuji was running to save him, Nanami still encouraged Yuji, telling Yuji that he's got this. His final words being the words of motivation for his beloved pupil. And like that, a legend died. This manga panel where Yuji sees Nanami dying and Nanami's final words are, "You got this." This manga panel completely broke me. I was so devastated in fact that I stopped reading the new chapters of the manga for 3 weeks straight. My favorite character had died and I was pretty depressed. But eventually I resumed reading the manga because I had to see how Itadori Yuji carries Nanami Kento's legacy.